Wagwan. Wagwan, people. Runa, you're
Hello.
right.
Hello. It's so good to be back. And we've got such an exciting episode today. I am so happy. It's one of my favorite subjects.
Listen. This is one episode that we've been itching. We've been itching and looking forward to getting to since we started planning this show. This podcast. We've been itching and waiting and hoping and looking forward to today's episode. So yeah, we're proper excited. Welcome to Celebrating the Ordinary with Chuks and Runa. How's your week been, guys? How's your week been? Runa, how's your week been?
I've, you know, it's just been so full on. Like, I don't think I'm
Mm,
getting a day off this week at all, or actually even
really?
this month. I'm just doing some really immersive training. And honestly, I'm seeing parts of myself that I did not even think it was there, at 44 years of age. I'm feeling like I must have been, I've got an inner cage fighter in me. And if
Oh,
there is one
wow. An
regret
inner
in my life,
cage fighter.
inner cage fighter, and if there is one regret in my life, it's that back when I experienced conflict as growing up and stuff, that I didn't just think, do you know what? I'm going to be a cage fighter, fight the demons.
Hold on.
I don't know why anyone
Le-
would think that, but I know this needs a lot of context, but today isn't about that. Maybe another day we can chat about why I want to be a cage fighter.
I'm
Like
just,
proper
I'm just
Rocky.
having, I'm just having mental pictures of the next Hulk movie, having Runa there as, Blue Hulk, but Runa.
Do you know what? If someone asked me for what superpower would you have, I would go for Hulk. I
Really?
would go
Mm.
for Hulk. What about you?
Oh, I would go for a combination. I would go for a combination of Superman to fly,
Mm, mm.
but
The
I
Fly.
would to
Did
fly,
you did you say the Fly? Oh
to
man, that's like
fly,
the word
to
the
fly.
worst.
Who flies? Who
The
flies?
Fly.
To fly, to
Oh,
fly,
there is a
not the
superhero
fly.
that's a fly, or maybe it's an
No,
ant.
there's
Oh
none.
God, that's a shit superhero to me, Tricks.
No. To fly. Oh my God. Listen, clean your ears out. Cotton buds.
Yeah, send me some, then I will. Uh, but
Yeah.
tell us about our guest today,
Oh my
Chicks, because I
days.
know
So
you're
I'm
dying
really
to.
excited. I'm really excited to have this individual with us today. He's one of my oldest friends. We've been brothers and friends and mates for over 20 years. Over 20 years. And
Yeah.
Bruno, the day I'm walking down the aisle, that's my best man. You better
Oh
know it.
no, sorry, Joe. You might have thought I only came to do a podcast, but
He might not like it, but hey, I'm dragging him, kicking and screaming. He's my best man.
Revelations.
I love that your threat is going public.
I know, innit?
Poor Joe's
But this is his name. But this is Joseph. Joseph is he's somebody who's I've known for a very long time,
Mm.
and he's here today to add his own immense value and knowledge around the issue of what we're talking about today, which is food. We're looking at food today. Food.
That's right. And not just what we eat, but as culture, memory, and even medicine, actually. It's so much
Yeah,
more than just stuff we've, got
it
into our
is.
mouth.
It is. It
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
It is. It is. But even before we get to that, before we get into the nitty gritty of today, let's
Mm.
do a bit of hot topics. Whoa. Listen, I want to vent.
Go on.
I want to
Go,
vent.
go for it. Go for it.
Earlier this week,
Mm.
mhm, I went with a friend of mine to a Nigerian restaurant
Mhm.
Oh no, I think I know where
in
this is
central
going.
London.
Mm.
Yeah.
And when I hardly go to Nigerian restaurants, I hardly go to Nigerian restaurants. I always tend to compare what I'm eating with what I can cook. But this
Yeah,
time
but
I
yeah.
decided, you know what, let me go and let me eat something that I know I cannot make. And so I ordered a particular dish that I know I cannot make. As a But listen, the when it came out, the taste of it, like, you know,
Yeah.
when you it was like they make the dish, yeah, and then they added water to it. They watered down the
Ooh.
rest. The it wasn't as calm. The
Oh.
spice level, the taste, the mixture was just so not. It was westernized. That's the way, and that's my vent. How do you
Yeah,
feel when they westernize our cultural recipes?
yeah, yeah,
Is
yeah.
my vent for hot topics. How do you feel, Runa?
So,
When they And I know we've had this conversation before. When they've bastardized and westernized some of your Asian Bengali dishes.
It raises the inner cage fighter in me. Comes out. What the hell is that? But do you know what? I'm really interested to know, Joe. Like, it'd be great to hear what you do because obviously this is like a Nigerian dish, right? So is it
Yes,
a
it is a
dish
Nigerian
that
dish.
you've tasted before but just can't cook?
Yes, I just
What is
can't.
the dish?
Joe, you know eforiru?
oh yeah, 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 yeah,
So
yeah,
it's
yeah,
called eforiru, and
yeah.
I can't even describe it.
Yeah, it can only be fresh. If it's not fresh, it loses the value. Yeah, I agree.
I
It's
cannot even describe
vegetable,
it.
crispy vegetables soaked in a pepper sauce, and if it's not fresh, it kills it. Yeah, yeah,
There's a way it's made. I
yeah,
cannot. I Listen, because of my experience, I will go to YouTube. I will search out how to make it, and we will learn to
yeah.
make the
Make it
real thing.
yourself. Yeah. But Chooks, there's also something about it for you. It's also the greens that they use. It might have not have been the traditional Nigerian greens. Maybe they got a substitute, and that could have
Then don't
affected
call
it.
it eforiru.
Yeah, that's
Change
fine.
the
That's
name. Call it
fine.
something.
What vegetables did they use? Now I'm just so intrigued.
I don't know what the vegetables they used. It was not even the vegetables, Runa or Joe. It wasn't the vegetable. It was just not the flavor wasn't
Yeah.
just there.
Yeah. Chooks,
It
you're
wasn't
holding it to
just
a very
there.
high standard also, you know. Maybe your standard is a bit too posh, you know. Maybe cut them some
This
slack.
one is
Did you
not
ask for
posh.
a
This one is
discount?
I am too
Did you ask
Nigerian
for a
for the
discount? Did you ask for your
I
money
am
back?
too Nigerian.
After you tell him, Joe, oh, it's so good to have you on just to put like thingy chooks down. Feel free to
Because the
put it.
Chooks I know will ask for his money back. I know that for sure. Or ask
Did
for a
you
discount.
did you ask for your money back, Chooks? Or a
I
discount?
didn't. I
Oh,
didn't.
yeah. Read that as yes, he did. Absolutely did.
Oh my
Oh man.
days. Oh my.
That's a good hot topic. Good bed for a Friday. Fair play.
He's
So,
so sad
Joe, tell
though.
us about you, though.
Huh?
Tell us about you. Tell us a bit about Joe.
Well, my hot topic or background about me. Or which one?
Background
About you.
about you.
About you.
Background about me. What? Nigerian born, bred, raised, always passionate. Son of a single mom, married a wife who was the daughter of a single mom. Raising two girls up in Ireland, trying to still imbibe the African culture in them, trying to give them the best of both worlds. Been around the world a bit. Love friends, a strong advocate for strong networks. Keep it small, keep it happy. Loyalty is big to me. I think, Chooks, you know that.
Yep.
Loyalty is what transforms friends to brothers and brothers to lovers, and lovers become partners for life. So I've got a few people who I think I'll leave everything behind and spill blood for. That loyalty is big to me. Cultural understanding. My mom used to say, if you cannot study, travel the world and you'll be an educated man. So traveling for me is a sign of cultural assimilation. It helps you to build knowledge beyond the headlines of what you see on TV. And so a full immersion experience is what I look for when I travel. Love to swim, love to go camping. Recent love of life is the motorbikes. Been talking about it for years. So my beautiful wife got me a gift for my not too recent birthday party. So I'm learning how to ride a motorbike, but my insurance doesn't cover me because of my age and many other things. So I'm a bit concerned about that. But it does. It's just an expensive insurance. Dream is to ride the bike over the road, either over Africa, over Europe, or South America. Torok cruiser motorbike, not the sports thing. Part time, just interested in life, enjoying life. My hot topic is This week I'm in Singapore, and my first degree, which I studied with Chuks Runa, is urban and regional planning, how you plan cities, how cities evolve. And I found a very interesting concept that has engrossed my entire time. Last night I spent 4 hours reading about it. It's about the interconnectivity of buildings in Singapore city center. It is interesting that buildings must be connected to the other building through verandas and walkways so that pedestrians can access the entire city without getting into the rain or being beaten by the sun.
Oh,
So
wow.
if you
That is true.
imagine,
That
Yeah.
is
yeah,
fascinating. I wouldn't have thought of that
yeah,
at
if
all.
you think about the
That
cities we
is
come from,
true.
the Londons and the Dublin, each property is fenced in. It's so private. There's no thoroughfare. I mean, I was in Singapore where you could walk through the 17th floor from one building to another, public walkway, just to be able to connect. And I mean, it's if you know the background we come from, it is fascinating. It's like a
It
world
is.
wonder to
It
me
is.
that for
It
four
is.
kilometers you can walk a city without seeing the sun. And then it's crisscrossing, it's overhead, it's on the ground. It's because it says a lot about how the people themselves culturally are connected when you give up
Yes.
your own privacy to allow people free flow through your building. And it's a very interesting concept you can read about. But if it's a hot topic, I'm falling in love with the builders and the urban planners of the city of Singapore. So that's me.
That is amazing. Like I didn't, it just blows my mind hearing of it. I've never been to Singapore, but now I desperately want to go. I can see the glint
Wow.
in Chucks's face, who just loves talking to people. I think after Chuks visits, though, they'll be like, "You're off, forget those
Yeah.
public walkways."
If I if I was if I
Everybody
was
can talk.
If I was in the government in Singapore, I'll be hosting an event called Running Through the Buildings, which will be a marathon to run through the corridors of the buildings around the city. I mean, it's just fantastic. But look, hey, that's me. Runa,
I
you
mean, that
asked. So,
wow. You know what? I feel like there's so much to unpack. Like literally in half a minute, you have said so much about you. Like it is literally blowing my mind. So I feel
yeah,
like
yeah,
let's go back to basics a little bit. Like start from that scratch bit, from the childhood like times and days,
yeah,
and work our way up to the man that you are today. Because that is a whole load of stuff just packed in there. And I guess
yeah,
what I'd really love to know is because we're talking about food ultimately,
yeah,
it would
yeah.
be really great to think to know like say because you seem like a very communal man, which is what's attractive in Singapore. If I came to your house right now, what's the one dish that you would love to cook for me?
Good
and
question.
and
Very good
and
question.
would that dish remain the same if Chuks joined me? Because it might not be.
That's that's an interesting topic, and this is where I need to put my hands up. If you're coming to my house, my wife will be doing the cooking, not me, at this time in my life.
Oh,
And if my wife wants to wow you, she probably will make the two types of rice, the jollof and the fried rice, and make a
oh,
very great efforiro, the one that disappointed Chooks, as a side
Yeah.
dish, and then might have
Yeah.
some plantains on it.
You
She's the
know,
one
I,
that loves
I,
to
I think
host.
I think I need to find my passport and start heading
Yeah,
over to
she,
Ireland right now,
she's
man.
the one that loves to host. But I will tell you a story. There's a friend of mine who brought his friend to my house while we're a young couple in Nigeria. His name is
mm,
OJ. And the connection to OJ is a guy called James Jonathan Liamgon. OJ
mm,
used to be a radio personality, and OJ visited my house only once.
mm.
My daughter is 14. This was probably 16 years ago. And that was the only time OJ met my wife. Till this day, OJ will ask Jonathan about my wife first before he asks of me, simply because of the food he ate. It left an indelible mark on him that he just feels that my wife is the best thing to make food forever. OJ is in the US now, but OJ is one person that reminds me of the power of food to leave a lasting memory of people. Same way I grew up
Yeah.
with a neighbor of mine downstairs. And this neighbor of mine, we hated going to her house because the minute you walk into the door, she's slapping you left and right and center with some small delicacies, small food. We always feel overweight and bloated. So when we see her, we actually run. We run from her because she's
Because of
up in kind of
food.
Because she's a
because her
feeder. You run
she
from her
is
because she's a feeder.
but there are feeders who feed you crap and there are feeders who actually feed you good food.
And they feed you
She
with love.
was she was wrapped in love, and she remains to us a fantastic wonderful. We just met as neighbors. We were on the up flat. She was on the low. Her husband was also Joe, like me, coincident. But when you see this lad, you know this lad is fed meat with the right tenderloin, the right boil point, the right veggies. He's stocky, like Joe is stocky. They are both up in Canada now. So I just did a quick turnaround about food as you asked, but just the memory that it leaves with us with regards to the people we encounter in our life. Food is important.
Before we go on, I need to warn our listeners and viewers, yeah. For health and safety reasons, have tissue with you because you'll be salivating throughout this episode. Guaranteed. Either tissues or you get a mop because you'll be
A bib.
salivating. To or
Just
a bib.
wear a bib. Just wear a bib and just trickle all over.
We are talking food today. Food.
Yeah, food is topic today. Food is the topic
And
today. Yeah,
today's episode is called My World and My World of Food. And well, that's what we're talking about today.
yeah. True, true,
So,
true.
yeah. So tell us more about you and food, dude. How has food been such a stalwart with you?
Mm.
So I think we'll have to go back a couple of years
Mm,
ago. At the time in our life when my dad passed as a young lad and my mom was pretty much struggling to raise
mm.
three kids on her own. And one of the indications or the signs the three of us knew that things were either good or bad in the family situation was the food that was presented in front of you. Not
Mm,
necessarily
mm.
in the portion size, but in the type of food and how often you repeat that type of food.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
early in my
yeah.
days, food was an indicator of how life was going. You know, you
Mm,
ate a
mm.
certain cheap and cheerful meal three times a day back to back. You know,
Yeah.
mama is struggling financially. And on payday, when mama says we're going to go buy roasted chicken, you know, it's payday. Mama is happy. Or mama gets a pay rise. You know, so for me, food was a touch, like the touch bearer of how things were. And
Yeah.
naturally, in our culture, if things are going well for either you or a host, it's not by what they wear or the size of the house they live in or the car. It's really by the meal they present in front of you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I would say that was my genesis of food. But it is also not strange that if you think about African culture, when you want to talk about the living standard of people is measured in the north of Africa, for example, against the price of bread. In some places, is
Yeah.
against
Yeah.
a kilogram of corn. In
Of
some other
corn.
places,
Yes.
it's
Yes.
about the size of your father's farm.
Or
In some
rice.
other, yeah,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
rice. So
Yeah.
food has always been a standard international unit
Mm.
that ties to the well-being of people. And so you've heard about riots around the world because of the price of tomato or rotten
Yeah.
tomato, or the price of bread went up and the government was overthrown. You know, things like how long does the bread stay or expire in the fridge says how poor you are. So
Mm.
for me,
Mm.
I've always that fascination between the power of food and a culture and a people or family or where they are at that time of their life. A strange
Yeah.
story. We were
It's
broke and we ate the head of a fish, like the
mm,
head of a fish. And when things got better, we threw away the head of the fish. We never ate it. So symbolically, that's just one example from my growing up. When you stir the soup and the head of the fish is in it, it's broke days. When the head of the fish is not in it, when it's just the meat section and the tail section, is happy days. So, Rona, that's a bit of where the connection started.
wow. I mean, yeah, that's really like fascinating. And it basically just shows, doesn't it, that like, or what I'm hearing anyway, is that food isn't just about nutrition. It's our
No,
soul. Like, it's the culture, it's the nutrition of soul, like, and just being
yeah,
able to kind of like, but even, I mean, I can't find the words for it. Like, it's even like economical, isn't it? Like knowing like where you're standing is like if it's poor days
yeah.
or if
It's
it's like
yeah.
rich days or interesting though, you talk about the fish head being poor day because like in our culture, like, well, I say in our culture, let me just talk about my mom and dad. They love a fish head, like literally that. They would fight for it. None of us would, but they would
Yeah,
absolutely fight for it. So I mean, there's a
yeah,
certain comfort and familiarity in that, even if it is
yeah,
like poor food. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Yeah.
if you dig back into why your parents love it, I'm sure you will find an economic connection to it.
Yeah.
In Nigeria, my culture, one other education, chicken. When you have chicken to eat, if you're okay, you don't eat the legs of the chicken or the head of the chicken. If things are not okay, you eat every part of the chicken. So
Every
it's
single part of the chicken.
every
Don't go
single
to
part of it.
waste. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's an and when you think about it, one of the ways we codify who we are is
Mm.
through culture, and a subset of that is food. Have you ever walked past the window of a house and they're cooking something that strikes you as very reminiscent of something you've
Mm.
eaten in the past, or you slip it
Yeah.
All the
in,
time.
and
The smell
a
takes you
picture
down
comes to your
memory
head?
lane.
Yes, it takes you to an encounter, a place. It's a very strong element that is like it's like a hard drive in your head that is
Mm.
triggered by the smell of something. I have walked down the street someday and I perceived a soup and I said, "Man, my auntie must live in this house because my auntie used to make that soup so well." But I
Mm.
realized no, she couldn't because I was in Casablanca in Morocco. But it was the same. And I could remember her furniture, the size of the meal, simply by smelling what was cooking in a stranger's house.
I mean that.
Well,
Oh
so
wow.
basically, what you're saying is that food in itself is like a time capsule that can
Absolutely.
transport you back in time, like a TARDIS, like Doctor Who, transport you back
Yes.
in time to those days when you were young, and bring up those nostalgic
Yeah.
feelings
Yeah.
in you.
I I said to my wife, knock on wood, it doesn't happen. If dementia ever sets in, it is the music and the food I used to eat that will bring me back to sanity. It's those two.
So, if you like what you're listening to, follow us on all social media platforms.
And if you're enjoying the show, catch us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify.
People do that all the time. I mean, even that film Ratatouille. I don't know if either of you have watched it, but
I've seen
basically
Ratatouille. I've seen
there is a
Ratatouille.
food critic in there, and he's like really harsh and stuff. And then the chef with the mouse like
Yeah.
gives him a
Mm,
dish,
mm,
and
mm.
basically it's what is the dish? Anyway, it's a very big. It is a ratatouille.
Yeah,
Um,
Ratatouille. That's a
yeah,
dish.
it's a ratatouille that he gives him, and it literally takes him back to when he was a boy. And
Yeah.
that is where the connection is. It literally
Yeah.
transformed the man from
Transformed
being a
you.
really
Yeah.
harsh that thing. And I really think in real life it does do that. Like I don't know about you folks, but like I find that I need some of those things, like some of my, I wouldn't say comfort foods, but like my my heritage, cultural something
Yeah.
food
Yeah.
to anchor me. So like if I
Yeah.
go away, rice is one of those things, but it can't be any old like long American rice or any shit like that. Like
Yeah.
it's got to be, and I say that in a non-disrespectful way, but it's got to be basmati because that is what
That's
we've
what. Yeah. Yeah.
literally
Even the way you
sort of grown up
pronounce
on.
it, even the way you pronounce it,
Basmati,
basmati.
basmati. And
Everybody else calls it
not just any
basmati. No,
basmati
it's not.
either, the broken
Mm.
kind, which I know sounds really um not quite wholesome or like the lesser version, but
Yeah. Yeah.
there is something just so delicious about it. Probably because
Yeah.
that's all and
Rona,
I
Rona, so
crave it.
my question is, if you go on holidays, how many days could you go without basmati?
Oh, I will go looking and hunting. I don't 1 or 2 days. I will feel, even though I've been eating at buffets, I will feel
Yeah.
like I haven't eaten. And actually,
Yeah.
funnily you say that. My friend and I went on a road trip, um, for like about a good few weeks, like about 4 weeks,
Mm.
and
Mm.
we were going to go into self-catering apartments and stuff. And we drove from the UK to like Europe and to kind of carry on.
Mhm.
And I took a 5 kg bag of rice in the boot, and one of the Airbnb hosts was like, "Oh my gosh," she looked really worried. She was like, "Are you guys moving in or
Are you
something?"
Are you moving in
I
Yeah.
took
with
this
Yeah.
five
your
kg
rice,
bag
a
of
bag of
rice.
rice? No
Yeah.
clothes, no toiletry, nothing. Just
Just a
rice.
bag of rice. Yeah, I
So
would have, I would have thought you were cooking for a party, with a bag of rice. But it is interesting, when you travel around the world, how food is really a signature of culture, and
Mm, mm, mm.
participating in participating in the experience of food around different cultures gives you a good insight into how people live their life. You know, the freshness of the Mediterranean vegetables or the fish from the
Yeah.
Mediterranean. If you're in Malta or in Tunisia or around the coast in Morocco, or you go down to East Africa and see the power of the naan bread, you know, that the culture party, which was from Asia. And you know, after people, food travel, you know, really, this is a fact. Food used to travel faster than music in the old world. It
Wow.
was easier for
Wow.
food to travel with people than for music to travel with people. Because
Mm.
for music, you had
Yeah.
to know the lyrics, know the tune, how to play the instruments. But food
Yeah.
was easy to find a replica or for people to build their cuisines when they travel. So it was
Yeah.
always
Yeah.
easy to carry a bag of flour or your vegetables when you're going across the Indian Ocean than it was to carry the music. So food had faster legs than any other element
Mm.
of culture.
Yeah, I
And
can
as somebody
believe
that
that.
has done a lot of traveling yourself, how has how do, how do different cultures or different people approach food, and how are that? So, example, Nigeria versus Ireland versus Morocco versus Singapore, wherever you've been. How do you see the difference in how people approach food?
Mm.
So again, this I have to caveat whatever I say is a personal opinion, not a judgment call. Personal opinion. But I'll give you a few examples. In the West, you go for a buffet. The starter is a soup, and then you go
Mm.
for the main course, and then you go for desserts.
Mm.
In
Yeah.
Singapore, you go for a buffet, you go for the main course first. You go
Oh,
for
Okay.
the
okay.
meat, yeah. And while you're having your main course, then you go for the soups with the main course,
Oh,
Mm.
wow,
and
really?
then you go for desserts. The notion, according to my host, is when you go for the soups first, it fills you up real quick, that you don't have
Mm.
Yeah.
capacity to actually
For the
enjoy the
main
main meal.
course.
And Chuks, guess what? He just broke the code for me for buffets in Europe. That when you go for buffet, one price to enter, never touch the soups, because then you don't get value for money. So if anyone is listening, the Asian hack, when you go for a buffet meal, if you're paying for it, don't go for the soups or starters. Go main course first
Main
and then
course
add the
first.
soups with it. So that's an example of just how the sequence of things change. Um,
Yeah.
my most memorable food experience, I would say, is East Africa, the golden triangle of Uganda, Kenya, and Tanzania.
Yeah.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah.
the I know the reputation for meat is either South Africa or Argentina, but in that golden triangle, they know how to do meat right. And
Mm.
without being paid, I am going to tell you my best meat experience in the world, hands down, without a doubt. Shout out to the carnivore in Nairobi, in Kenya. If you ever are in Nairobi and you like your meats, you like your hot grill, please spend time and go to the carnivore. It's one price to enter, and it's a buffet of different wild beast animal food on earth. It is memorable. They cook all the meat right. It is healthy. It is humane. No animal is killed roughly, and it has stayed for years, and its legacy is strong. So I always have an affinity towards food in East Africa. Then they've got ugali and chapati, and
Mm.
yoma choma is a grilled meat that reminds me of what we call suya back home in
Yeah.
Nigeria. So the time I lived and stayed in Nairobi, Kenya, I loved it. And chapati is the version of the naan bread. I could
Mm.
eat chapati all day long.
Mm.
It's
Mm.
just something about chapati that is healthy, it is done nice. And interestingly, I had chapati as a street food for the first time in Nairobi with some veg or ugali wrapped in it. I would say, shout out, East Africa does not get its props for its food. And if you then go further north to Somalia, you will
Mm.
be amazed at the mixture of spices and herbs and Mediterranean influences, or the influences from the southern Sudan into the diet. And I love the Somalian Ethiopian concept of food as a community. The big tray
Yeah.
where
Yeah. This
everyone sits
big tray,
down
everything in the middle, and you sit
in the
down and
middle
everybody eats.
and
Yeah.
everyone eats from one bowl. And people might not get this, but Africans understand that the people you eat with is an indication of trust, of love, of
Yes.
brotherliness.
Yes. Yes.
Very
There's
unlike
a
the
yeah.
West, where you go and serve your own meal and a family has 4 plates, everyone sitting separately, but scooping from a common central dish. Very individualistic. Nothing wrong with that. But if you juxtapose that with what I've seen in the Ethiopian Somalian family, there's no central bowl. Everything is put in one big central pan, and you
It's a
all
se-
feast and share love. Go on.
it's very similar to South Asian culture, isn't it, Runa? Where the
Well,
you
not no, because to be, I mean, I can't speak for all South Asian cultures, but from my understanding is that I mean, more definitely more cosmopolitan eat in a Western way, where you would decant onto your individual plates and stuff. But it's interesting because one thing I noticed, again, I can't speak for like the whole of Bengali culture, but there was a tradition, and I don't know if it's still carried out in other families,
mm,
but when someone got married, like on their wedding
yeah.
day, the the bride and groom would
Mm.
share a plate of food, like literally
Okay.
from, so
Yeah.
everything is decanted onto that
Yeah,
plate, but then they would eat
Yeah.
together. But there is
Mm.
something about like belonging here, isn't there? About that breaking bread
Yeah.
and trust and
Yeah.
identity. And
yeah,
maybe there's
yeah,
something about collectivist cultures as well, kind of coming together
absolutely.
to
Yeah.
eat
Yeah,
in that way. It's
yeah,
more
Yeah.
than
yeah.
food now, isn't it? It's more than food.
It is more than food. And the other thing I also talk about as food as a tool or a demonstration of love. As I
Mm.
said, some people would they are feeders, they'll feed you as a show of love. And I remember the patriarch of my family of blessed memory, the eldest family from my dad's side, an elderly man. Whenever he was served his meal weren't so heavy. He was a 70 plus, 80 plus year old man. It was a small
Mm.
portion. But when he ate his meal and he got to the meat, which is like the crown jewel in every home, and there were 6 kids in
We'll
the
leave
house,
it till last.
no matter how small the piece of meat or piece of fish is, he will split it into the number of kids in the house and call everyone by age to come and
Oh,
take a piece. Sometimes they
Wow.
were
Yeah.
so teeny tiny.
Yeah.
But I never remember my uncle saying to any of his kids or me that I love you. But that was his language of love
Yeah.
every day.
Yeah.
He would
Yeah.
never eat the meal alone till the end. He would eat the main course, but when it's those special draw, the fish or the meat, he would say, how many kids are home? Oh, there are 3. He would split it into 3 and say, okay, who is the oldest? The oldest comes and take, and that was his symbol of love. And
Mm.
I
Mm.
still
Mm.
remember it to this day that the head of the family, the owner of love, never finishes his meal. He shares the last piece with his
Share the
kids.
last piece
You know,
with everybody.
uh,
Yeah.
I, I just still remember that experience with my uncle, and it was always wonderful to be called up to have a very tiny piece of meat or fish.
Mm.
yeah.
But
But that,
but then but then that also then causes me to ask the next question, which is, as a moving from the African culture to
Yeah,
a Western culture with a Western diet and Western realities,
yeah,
yeah, does the our intake of food, because my my diet has changed. My diet has
mm,
changed by force, by fire, because
mm,
of of the move from the Nigeria to the UK or
yeah,
to the Western world.
yeah, yeah.
mm,
What would you say the reasoning for that change or those changes happening?
That's a very interesting question, and answering as one who has moved around the world pretty much up until my late 30s, in almost every geographical zone of the world. I want to correct something. It is not my culture changing. I still carry that culture. It's my
Is
environment that is changing. And even in that environment, there's a choice to make to retain your
yeah,
culture.
yeah,
And
yeah, yeah, yeah.
retaining your
I stand
culture,
corrected. I stand
yeah,
corrected. Yeah,
retaining your culture boils down to economic empowerment, health benefits, the living situation that you are in, versus
mm,
access to the things that is your cultural food, whether it's accessible or not, or just your changing life priorities. So it's the
yeah,
decisions around how much of this would affect our our ability to keep the food culture or adjust the food culture to the country where we are. And some of them
yeah.
have very interesting links. What I notice is when my family and I move to countries that have direct frequent air routes to
Mm-hmm.
Nigeria, we had access to everything.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
we,
yeah.
we had to deliberately go out of our way to experience those local culture
Mm,
versus and so we had to make the choice. No, we're not going to eat. Let's go to a Moroccan restaurant today. I
mm,
remember we
mm,
went on holiday to Croatia,
mm.
and we were around. Everyone is around Dubrovnik, the tourist area, and I spent 15 minutes explaining to the lady in the hotel that we really want to eat local Croatian food. And the lady
Mm.
says you have to take a taxi and drive 45 minutes up in the mountains away from the city to go find
Wow.
true Croatian food outside of
Really?
Dubrovnik. And we did it, and it was worth it. Every minute of it was worth it. When they brought the meat out, my goodness, it was soaked or treated with a bit of honey. Man, I
Mm.
mean, give it to Croatia. In the Adriatic region, I haven't tasted much, but I would say Croatian meat was fantastically done where I ate it.
It seems like meat is such a big thing. And actually, um, just going back to earlier what you were saying about the environment and about, like moving into like the Western culture, like the immigration piece, isn't it? That
Yeah.
um, can we really carry on eating the way we might do that's culturally thing? Because obviously some foods might react differently within us in terms of our environment.
Yeah,
That's what I find it
yeah.
cultural
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah. Fully agree. I think I would be the first to put my hands up and say we resisted the change a lot when we moved to Europe, when we finally
Mm.
got based in Ireland. We try to stick to eating our culture. So, for example, my way of life would be hot breakfast in the morning, not a cold breakfast. But
Yep.
in the West, it's a cold sandwich and maybe a cup of coffee and you're out. From us,
Yeah.
it used to be that a hot bowl of noodle with a piece of soup or a hot
Mm.
piece of rice in the morning. However, the environmental realities had to force a degree of change in
Yeah.
that you were coming from a plus 28 to 34 degrees heat and humidity to a -7 winter in Ireland. That food
Mm.
does not suit. You don't have the ability for that combustion that you usually will have in temperature
Yeah.
environment.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, if you don't alter your food and you're still eating oil-heavy foods in the West, in the winter, cholesterol is building, heart complications is building. You're not exercising as much because everything
Yeah.
is the convenience of a car. You're adding weight. There's sleep amnesia, and all that is coming in, principally because you are refusing the change. And if one is not
Yeah.
careful, that could lead you down the road. And remember, when it comes to ailments that have food as its background, the
Mm-hmm.
medical profession in some of the Western countries don't have enough live cases of
No.
dark-skinned black
True.
men to be able to build a profile. The history isn't there. You could have seen
Yeah.
that they never had that scene. Maybe the UK is different because it's very cosmopolitan and mixed. But in Ireland, it could be that they are facing ailments with food as the underlying condition from a West African man, but they never had a library of previous cases to
Of
be able
West
to
African
diagnose.
people who have come through to
Yeah,
them.
and
Yeah.
yeah, and then you make it difficult for the medical profession to be able to diagnose. Little story of mine. Um, my wife says, "Go say hello to our local doctor. Never seen him in about a year." She says, "Just go say hello to the lad, chat about stuff." Women have the sense for this thing. So I go in, talked about football, talked about living in the local community, and he says, "Let me just strap on this blood pressure monitoring thing while we chat away." He straps it on. We got talking. He does the first reading, stare in his face, goes quiet, says, "Let me do the reading again," does the second reading again. And then he says, maybe the machine is bad. Let me try another machine. Goes to next door, gets another blood pressure machine, straps it on, and does two more reading. And all of a sudden, he stops talking. And I'm like,
Wow.
what's going on? And he says, "How are you walking? How did you walk in here?" I said, "What do
Oh
you
my
mean?"
gosh.
Says, "Your BP is 240 over 160. That is
Wow.
stroke level. That is stroke
Wow.
level blood pressure. Like,
And you
how are
didn't
you
even
walking?"
know that this was
I
happening
no
in
clue,
you.
no idea. And then the
Mm.
lad says, "You cannot leave here." I was pretty much detained. An ambulance came, got me into an ambulance, and I spent 11 days in the hospital, then battling to
Wow.
drop the BP.
11 days. Sorry, like wait,
11
so
days.
you just rocked up to just have a chat about footy, and the next thing you know,
Yeah,
11 days in hospital.
11
11 days in
days.
hospital. Yeah, and loads of tests, loads of diagnosis, and I was living on the edge with the blood pressure that was going to kill me without me knowing. And then they had,
Gosh.
Wow.
yeah, heart experts, everyone came in, and it pretty much boiled down to a couple of things. The first was it was somewhat hereditary. But in the African culture, you and your cousins and brothers never talk about an ailment that is passed down. That topic never comes up on your bingo card. You understand what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
we never discuss it. So I was dealing with it. My cousins, my nephews, this my uncle, that was the patriarch, was also dealing with it. But we're all dealing with it in hiding. And then the second
But
was
Joe,
Mm.
just
around
to, not to like stop you like thinking, do you think that was because they didn't know about it, or it's that they knew about it but just didn't talk about it?
Well, interestingly, when I went asking, because the doctors in Ireland said, we need to know what medications are your family members taking if they have it. So I had to call my cousins, my brothers, and 8 out of 10 of them that I called said, yes, I have high blood pressure, and these are the medications I'm taking. I'm like, dude,
Wow.
how come we don't have a WhatsApp group and be talking about these things?
About this
And then
openly.
yeah,
So they
but nobody
knew.
talked about it. No, we could talk about football. We could talk about the challenges of our nation. We can talk about the women we dated, but we never talk about the common health scare that we had. So for me, it was really a wake up call about how frank and transparent we have to be as African men amongst our kindred.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially for stuff like blood pressure, because you literally don't know that you're
Yeah,
experiencing it.
yeah. And it is interesting because I had no signal. I could have
Mm,
dropped dead the next morning. There will be no signal whatsoever. And this is what happens when you hear of sudden death. But the hereditary element was one. And
mm,
then I had a nutritionist come in and we had to run through everything I eat. What kind of oils do we use? Is it heavy oils or
Mm.
light oils? Are they processed or not processed? The kind of seasoning. And Runa, my culture, you put salt in everything. You want to drink an orange, you can put
Yeah.
salt in it. You want to eat an apple, you can put salt in it. And the nutritionist went through my salt intake and all that, and I was a ticking time bomb. She said,
Wow. Wow.
wow.
if you continued eating like this in Nigeria, the problem is bad. That you continue eating like this in the West, the problem is worst of the worst. So environment was the forceful element that I needed to change what
Mm.
I eat. Even though I loved what I eat, I had to
Yeah.
change it all up. So that was my episode that where the medical considerations also come in versus what we like and what we love.
It's so complex, isn't it? I mean, like, there's a lot of work within the NHS. They have like well-being like fractions where they're teaching people or re-educating people in terms of
Mm.
how they take in nutrition. And you know, and like for example, in Newham, they're doing some work around like specific cuisines and dishes that you know
Yeah.
that the population in that area kind of like eat. But actually, it's so much more layered than that to really understand physiologically how some of those
Yeah,
foods might impact. Like it's not as simple as eat protein in this ratio, carb to this
Yeah.
ratio, get your
Yeah.
fiber in.
Yeah.
yeah,
There is something
yeah.
more that our bodies might need, but the research and understanding isn't there at all. And in
Isn't it?
some ways, it's actually failing
Yeah.
people, isn't it, really, not doing that research?
If you think about it, that research, there is the recommendation, but when you layer it on ethnicity, on
Mm,
age, it means certain consumption level for sugar for a 9-year-old Nigerian in Ireland might be okay. But the older you grow, that recommendation has to adjust. And I cannot
Yes.
remember any food intake that gives us age or gender or hereditary traits or race recommendation to say because you are a 7-year-old Nigerian living in the West, then you shouldn't consume more than 2 kilograms of sugar. However, if you're a 21-year-old Nigerian living in because really these are all the elements that comes to play. If you look into the car industry, that's how it works. Your winter tires in Sweden might have
mm,
different recommendation versus your summer tires in Morocco, if it's a
Yeah.
mm.
V8 engine or a V4 engine. So they layer all this critical points to be able to come to a conclusion, and that's what food is missing today, I think, in the medical profession.
I
Mm.
agree.
Mm.
I mean, just even thinking, like we get the arbitrary advice, like, oh, 2,000 calories a day is your standard, but actually, who is it a standard for?
What is it
And
standard
like
Oh,
for?
when?
exactly.
Yeah,
Who is it
Yeah.
who
standard
is it?
for? It's a standard 4. So then that means that your food, your appreciation or your the way you appreciate food has had to
Mm.
change then as a result of that experience.
Yes, yes. It has not stopped my appreciation for food. It has altered. So I wouldn't gulp down a huge bowl of heavily spicy noodles in Singapore, even though I love it so much. You have to do
Mm,
everything in moderation. Doesn't mean
yeah,
you have less of an experience. It just means that you alter your level of that experience to keep yourself healthy. So
yeah,
um,
yeah.
this week I've been in Singapore, and we've gone to the bazaars in the middle of for lunchtime break. And for the first time, I realized that it's actually Northern Indian food, Central Indian meals. And you could see the store that says North Indian cuisine, Central Indian cuisine. And I'm like, within India itself. So the variety, walking through the corridor, the way they grill chicken is different in the east of China versus the north of China. And I just wish everyone in the world could have a taste of the world. I think it might be the trigger for world peace, when you're able
Mm.
to say, oh, you are this, but your bread sounds like my bread. And oh, yeah, I can relate it back to something I ate a while ago.
Like
And
It's
breaking bread.
it's it,
It's like a
it's
map
it's it
that
is
you
a
need.
map. It is
You
a
need
map.
a map of like food. I've actually seen one, uh, again, like for Bangladesh, where it had different like states on it, and the food
Mm.
items in
yes,
there were like different. And then I saw one
yes,
for like
yes.
mangoes specifically, like which mangoes you can get in like which areas. But I mean, it's actually really, I think it's really fun. I personally would love geography more had
Yeah.
I seen those maps. Do you know what I mean? I'm like,
Runa, we should do a TV program called Food Around the World.
oh yeah,
Right, right,
instead of flags around the world.
yeah. Around and race around the world. We race to eat food around the world.
Do you know what? Or we could be really thinking, because you mentioned earlier the two amazing rice dishes that your wife makes, the jollof rice and the fried rice. Well, fried rice, I'm not being funny,
So,
but it's just such a
so,
basic name, but it's so different
so
where you get it from.
the world has done an injustice to fried rice, in my opinion. It- Fried rice is the forgotten brother of the rice family. Jollof rice gets all the fame and name and all the competition. When I say to people, jollof rice is like a man that wears only pants and his inner garment. Why fried rice is the guy that is fully suited and booted, three-piece suit, comes kitted, fully armed, but
But
he
there's a
just
reason.
doesn't
But
get
there's
the
a reason for
exposure.
that, Joe. There's a reason for that. The fried
Go
rice
for
we
it.
have in Nigeria, the fried rice we have in Nigeria is very similar to the fried rice. It's a quick fried rice that the Chinese have,
Which is what? The special fried rice. I'm just thinking of.
which is the special. If you special fried, very similar to the special fried rice that that the Chinese have. If you go to your local Chinese restaurant and order special fried rice, it is very similar. The vegetables, the spice levels, they're different tastes, different recipes, but they have very similar look. So
But
that's why I think that's wrong.
Nigerian fried rice is like a rare admiral, though. It's like the top rank. Oh, I mean, I
I
mean, let's.
agree.
I,
Yeah,
I,
Chuks.
I
I,
agree.
I don't know
But
what
there's
this
a
whole thing
reason.
about jollof rice is. I think people say, oh, they love Nigeria. I mean, yeah, jollof rice is okay. It doesn't take specialist skill to cook jollof rice. But see, wooden pot cooked fried rice is the best rice on the surface of the earth. And I
You
don't
know,
mean,
yeah.
so let me dial back. You know that rice tastes different based on the kind of fire you use and the kind of pot you use.
Yes.
Absolutely. And the type of
So
rice you use also
and
reacts
the type and
differently
the
to all
type
of
of
that.
rice you use. But one element I think is key when it is wood fired flame, the
Yeah.
rice is just a bomb. Yeah, it is
The
not
smoky
environmentally
smoky
friendly.
flavor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
What
yeah.
makes Nigerian rice so, like fried rice so unique? Because Trix has just made it out that you can get it anywhere, but I don't think I've ever
No,
tasted Nigerian
no,
fried rice.
no. I love chooks, but this is where I disagree. You
Yeah,
could
Trix,
get a
fake
fried
info.
corn. You could get a rice called special fried rice, international fried rice. Yes, but Nigerian fried rice.
Nigerian fried
Oh
rice.
my goodness.
So first and
Oh,
foremost, I would say that. So the Nigerian fried rice, if you look at the time it takes to make rice, the different types of rice. Nigerian fried as against Nigerian jollof rice. It
Yeah,
takes longer
you make a good point. Yes,
to
yes,
make Nigerian fried rice.
yeah,
It takes
yes.
much
I agree.
longer. So that means the fact that it takes longer, that means there's a lot more effort
Yeah,
in
and
making that dish. And a
and
lot more love.
Nigerian fried rice is unforgiving. If you goof it, it will be sure that you goofed.
You will
Jollof
know.
rice has the bandwidth for bending it.
You
Fried rice
you
doesn't
can
give you
hide your
that
sins
bandwidth.
behind it. But
Yeah.
Nigerian fried rice, you cannot. You
So
can tell,
yeah.
nah,
So,
you're not done
so
properly.
Runa, back to
Well,
the question of if you came to my house. If you came to my house, my wife will serve you both rice for the following reasons. Because she would think you expect to find jollof rice, but she would want to impress you with fried rice. By the way, we never told you this, but in Nigeria,
give me your address now.
we can actually mix both rice together on the same bowl of plates.
I would try that separately, then together. Do you
Exactly.
know what, Joe? You talk about jollof rice though; it's making me laugh in a way that it's like the enemy of the state. In the same way that I feel about cauli rice, like like cauli. I mean, I'm sorry, but like
Yeah,
cauliflower rice is not rice.
it's not
I
right.
Cauliflower
just
Yeah,
can't.
rice.
We don't need to
yeah.
go into that because that will bring out an inner cage fighter in me. But I'm just saying that you talk of jollof rice in that same level of passion, like
Well,
against.
I just think the world has had all the battles around jollof rice. The world is more than just jollof rice. I think the we could do much more. We could present much more. Jollof rice that has its reign, yes, give it a crown. But now we need to turn to the other foods around. That's just Nigeria. So let me not take it away. I can go back to Ireland and what makes Ireland special. So the Ireland sandwich is probably the most amazing surprise I found when I got to Ireland. This is where you take a perfectly made sandwich, you open it up, get your crisp chips, stack it up with chips, put the bread back, compress it, and take a bite that is first soft and then crunchy, and then mixes all that. That is a standard Irish sandwich. And for
Yeah,
me, it's
is
a
it
big
though? Is
surprise.
it a standard Irish? Because it sounds as though it's the kind of sandwiches that we grew up in the UK, where we would put our favorite. My personal favorite flavor is salt and vinegar, a tiny bit of mayo in between
Crisps.
bread. Oh my God, like salt and vinegar sandwiches. Some would prefer cheese and onion. I don't know. Ready
But
salted is probably the most boring crisp to
that's a
use in that.
that's a crisp sandwich, right?
Yeah.
Oh, well, look.
Well, isn't that what you just said? That you open it up and put crisps in the middle?
Yes, yes. My youngest daughter does that, and it blows my lid off. I'm like, you could eat the sandwich, enjoy the vegetables or the ham in it, and then you can open the pack of chips and eat later. She's like, no, I have to put both of them together. It's like, well, but again, that's the nature of food. Remember, in Ireland, the food item that says Ireland is potatoes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
well, yes.
So it does make rational sense. Like in Bangladesh, where everything is linked to rice, in Ireland, everything and anything you can do with potatoes links you back to home, links you, and hence why some potatoes are called Irish potatoes. But
Well, do you know what? I've actually got an Irish friend, Faye, who, if you miss one, like one roast potato from her portion, like she's so like mild, she's really like cool, but you will see the inner cage fire. Like if that girl
yeah,
doesn't, you know how like we were saying we can't cope without our rice. If that girl
right,
does
yes,
not get potatoes, the world is
yeah,
over. It's not
yes, yeah,
happening. So,
yeah. Again, a perfect example of the link to culture, link to back home, reminds us of something when we're growing up in our past.
yeah, absolutely.
What?
Wow.
So what dish would you then say, Joseph, tells your story across countries that you've lived in and you've been to?
Man, one dish that would be impossible to say. That would be um, my North Africa experience will be centered around couscous and tagine.
Okay.
Tagine
Okay.
and couscous will be my North Africa. My lads in Algeria, when I go to Algeria, Algeria is like Nigerian brothers in the north. They have the same energy, the same vibe. So it's the same couscous around the north. As I said, East Africa will be sukuma wiki, ugali,
Mm,
chapati. If
mm,
the rice
mm.
is, it will be the rice in West Africa. My current Singapore experience, I've had the best tasting grilled duck meat and pork I've ever eaten with the
Wow.
tiny bowl of sauces. Dinner I had tonight is a memorable Singaporean meal. Well, not Singaporean, but Chinese heritage meal of
Mm.
duck, pork, and pork dumplings in a sauce, in a soup sauce. My goodness, that was, you know, Runa.
Mm.
Back home, if you want to know people who enjoy food, when they're eating the food, they're either tapping on their head or scratching on their or scratching their legs. For me, when I enjoy food, I scratch. Like, that's how I know. I rub myself. That's how I know I'm enjoying the food. And in this restaurant this evening, the pork dumplings in the soup bowl was just incredible. And I wish I could take some home. But shout out to Singapore. That was the meal tonight. Was memorable, fantastic. So Chuks, it depends. I would say across the world, different meals remind me. My guys in the North Atlantic in the US, I don't know anything. Big Mac, maybe a big burger. I don't know.
I mean,
I
that's
guess it
all
be,
sounds
I guess it'd be
delicious.
chicken. It'd be chicken for the US, wouldn't it? Their roast chicken and their barbecued meat would be their go-to.
Could be. I've heard good stories about a certain part. I think in Texas where they do barbecue really well, where they grill
Mm,
pork.
mm.
I haven't tried it, but it's probably one on the bucket list to do.
Do you know what? Talking of chicken, just a fun fact, and it kind of blew my mind when I was talking to um a builder that came round, like sorting stuff out, and we were just sitting there chatting. So it's me and my friend at the builder, and he was talking about how so he's a bit of a farmer for want of a better word, and
Yeah,
a country boy, and he hasn't eaten chicken like in years, and that's because he refuses to eat the supermarket chicken. And he goes to me, "Do you remember
Wow.
back in the days that the chicken drumsticks, like the leg of the chicken, was literal brown meat?" But now it's all white meat. And that
All
white.
blew my
white
mind.
meat.
I remember, oh my gosh, yes, you're right. It
Yeah,
literally
Yes,
was brown.
yeah.
It was
yes,
delicious. And now
yes.
it just feels, it doesn't have the same sort of like twang to
Not
it
only that, not
because
only
they're
that,
not
not only that,
exercise
Runa,
chickens.
the the drumstick. The reason why it was called it's called a drumstick because it was
But
meaty and
baby brownie
big
meaty.
and
Wasn't like
veiny
a
and
breast meat.
yeah, and it's all changed. It's
Well,
now really soft and yeah, yeah.
yeah, you guys want to open Pandora's box about the quality of commercial meats that is available? Be my guest. We don't have
No,
enough time on
that is
earth
not. We cannot
to
no,
talk
Joseph.
about
We
it.
cannot
But
go down
anyway,
that route. We cannot go down that route.
yeah, but anyway,
I think for us, it's knowing that food is one. The reality is that a lot of different countries, a lot of different cultures have similarities in
yeah,
their food, in
yeah,
their dishes. Number two, the fact that food as a staple is a door opening into the culture of the place you are
yeah,
visiting,
yeah,
you know.
Mm.
yeah,
And number three, food is a way of saying to people, and I'm speaking for someone who's also Nigerian, who's African. Food for us is a way of saying to people, welcome,
yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
welcome to
So
my
I
house.
I give you a learning I had today with a Singaporean. And we're talking
Mm,
about the culture of wasting food. He wanted to know my culture, what my notion about wasting food or when you have a meal and you have something left. And he said something
mm,
very interesting that in his Chinese linked Singaporean culture, it is rude not to finish the food on your plate
Yeah.
because the
Hmm.
signal is
oh,
the food was not tasty enough. He says, but that's not
oh,
true, in fact, because there's also an inverse effect that if
mm,
you finish all the meal, then your host is worried that they didn't serve you enough.
enough.
So,
Very
so
true.
it's a lose-lose situation. And then it was really interesting that to respect your guest, you have to stop yourself and finish everything in your plate. I was like,
Yeah.
that's. I think I
I'd
need
say
to tell
that's
my
pretty typical of South Asian culture as well, actually, that you like they will literally, in fact, the worst thing is if you leave food or that they feel like they haven't made enough, like the stinginess of it. Like
Yeah.
That would
But
literally
Runa,
kill people.
what I said to him is that that's unfair. If you served me the portion of food when I came to your house, then
Mm.
you've already determined my fate by the size of the food. So if you serve
That's
me
just a
too
Walmart
large
pack, though.
and I'm full and I can't eat anymore, then you judge me. If you serve me too
Yeah.
little and I finish it and then you
I'm
judge
like,
me again,
make room, man, make
I,
room.
I never win. But that was a good thing to learn also, It's
Mm.
yeah, I love the power of food, I would say. Uh, Humanity needs to appreciate more. It's
Mm,
changing. A lot of waste is going on. Still have people dying for the lack of food or the lack of good food. We still have
mm,
people putting food that is killing them instead of keeping them alive, either knowingly or unknowingly.
Mm.
It has its dark sides too, also. We cannot downplay it. Food itself has deprived people from seeing, and it will deprive some people from seeing the rise of the sun tomorrow morning,
Yeah,
which is so
yeah,
yeah.
unfair,
yeah.
you know.
Well, it's happening
And
now in the world in like war places, isn't it? That where
yes,
there is
yes, it is.
war, there is
I
thinking
mean,
like,
or the deliberate distribution of unhealthy and harmful food for commercial gain. Capitalism has
Yeah,
also caused that.
yeah.
So while we talk about all the nice, beautiful rainbow-colored power of food, we must also talk about the grays and the blacks
The grays and the
in the
blacks, the
spectrum.
reality that,
In the
yeah.
spectrum, yeah,
We also need to talk about the reality that when we move from different climates and different environments, we also need to take into consideration what
mm,
we are taking or the quantities and the qualities of the food we're
quality, yeah,
eating as well.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
good. That is good. Joe, if there was one thing you could change that would make a difference in terms of health and well-being and food, what would it be?
that's a big question though.
I know. That's why I asked it, man.
Ah, one thing I could change, man. Chuks, I don't know, man. I think I'll circle back to I really don't know, but I think if people should exercise the power of choice when it comes to food. I think
Yeah.
if
mm,
there's one thing I would change is people's understanding of exercising the power of the right choice when it comes to
mm,
food.
Mm, mm.
And that would be the one thing, because it is critical for living for life, for having a fulfilled life, the choices we make about food or
Yeah.
about anything in life. So my
Mm.
my one change would be people be more mindful, more conscious about the choices we make on food, and explore a bit more, challenge yourself a bit more. If you don't know anything about the people, try knowing about their food first. You will find
Yeah.
out that the pillars, the barriers, the bias will come crumbling down once you can find out a bit and taste the food of the world. So
Yeah.
yeah. It's people
what I
are
think.
food. It's not you are what you eat. It's what
Yeah,
you eat is who you are. I think I'll just say the
What
same
you
thing.
yes,
eat is
Really,
who you
who you
are.
are.
Yeah. No, but it's the
Yeah.
truth. It is. It is
Yeah,
true.
it's
yeah,
true.
That says it. That's true. You know.
yeah,
Yes, you are what you eat, but but most importantly, what you eat is who you are.
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
It
yeah,
absolutely.
makes
perfect.
you. You want to know a culture, food. Try the food. I
Yeah,
There are people. So when I have friends who would travel, and no matter where they go to, they would always want their what they are used to eating. You know,
yeah.
there was one friend that complained to me, complained, went to Spain, and the major complaint that he had was that there was too much Spanish food.
Mhm.
And like, dude,
Yeah.
you're in Spain. What do you
Oh, you
expect?
expected.
You are in Spain. You don't want to eat Spanish food. Don't go to Spain.
Yeah, yeah, straightforward. Yeah. Oh,
But
fantastic.
that's a whole other thing, though, isn't it? Where in the UK you can find like so many different cultural foods. It's because
Mhm.
communities have had to create that for
Yeah,
themselves to feed
yeah,
themselves something that they're
yeah.
familiar with. So I feel like that is another day, and I'm conscious, Joe, that you're in Singapore at the time, and I think the time right now is like
It's,
2 o'clock
it's
in the
coming up.
morning or something, nothing like
It's,
that.
it's coming up on 2 a.m.
Oh no! Listen, let's wrap this up. I want to know more, and I know Chooks will have you on here until 5 o'clock in the morning. But let's finish up the quick fire fun round, okay? So this is
Okay.
to the both of you. So I'll go with Joe
Okay.
first and
Okay.
then with you, Chooks. What's your most Like there's no boundaries or anything like that. What is your most favoritist comfort food? Like your last meal ever? Like if you had to decide on a last meal, what meal would that be?
Is that me first?
Yeah.
Yeah, Joe, go ahead. You're the guest. Go ahead.
Yeah, you have to Google this one, but I think Chuk knows it. I would die. I would accept to be poisoned and killed with a kind of beans called ewa agoyin and bread.
Ah,
Ooh.
I would divorce my wife for the right bowl of
Oh
ewa
my
agoyin and bread.
gosh. And she's a
I would
keeper.
I would
Let's be
I would take life imprisonment for ewa agoyin and bread. If they tell me there's poison in ewa agoyin, I will, with a big smile, I will take a scoop and eat it. And I mean the real original one, not the counterfeit. Chokes.
oh my days. Oh my days. For me, it is original, hot, well prepared porridge yam.
Porridge, yeah. With veg, yeah.
Porridge, like no, so porridge in the Western world is Quaker oats.
No, that's not it.
Nahi. In
Yeah.
Nigeria, porridge is yam made with oil, with spices, and cooked to
Very
the
true.
point where it is so soft and it's almost mushy. The
Chokes.
consistency, it is so hot with
With,
nice lumps of meat in between.
with or without fish.
Both. Why not? Because I'm
Yes.
greedy. I'm greedy like
Chucks
that.
is bold,
Meat
man.
and
Bold.
fish.
But Runa, you have to answer the question too now. You have to come around the circles. What about you?
Oh, oh, it has to be. It has to be this lamb and I think they're called cocoa yams or edos, but they're really like, yeah, they're
Okay.
quite like slippery. So it's from the potato
Oh,
family. But when you
Yeah.
it
cook
is
Yeah.
them
cocoa yam.
with
Yeah,
the lamb, the Bengali spices and that and it's
yeah.
like a sort of a stew curry type thing.
Fantastic.
Oh my God. And I
Mm,
have that with
mm,
sort of glutinous. So I mix glutinous and basmati rice together.
mm.
It is so good. Like I absolutely understand what you're saying, Joe. I would sell my nan for a bite of that. If someone says, you know what, you can have that
Oh, you're
forever
not.
or your
Yeah.
nan, but you can't have both, I'd be like, I'm sorry, nan, but you're gonna have to take one
I
for the
love you,
I
team.
love
man.
you,
Man, you
but
gotta go.
Nan for lamb. That's what it would have been. So I wish you could just taste that in your mouth. I can taste it in my mouth now.
oh my
So good.
days.
So good. You know,
Fantastic.
thank you so much for sharing. Like it was so good to talk to you. I'm not gonna lie, I do need to invest in a bib because I swear to God, my mouth has been salivating like
I
nobody's
warned you.
business.
I warned you.
I
I
should have
warned all
listened
of
to
you
you,
at home.
Chicks. But
Guys,
you have
thank,
been absolutely amazing, and it's been
thank,
such a pleasure and honor and privilege to have you on the show with
Listen,
us
thank you,
my
Runa.
today.
brother
Thank
from
you,
another
but
mother has been an absolute
thank you.
yeah.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate the opportunity to share and then just to reminisce and think about old times and the power of food. I just want to encourage you guys, keep doing what you're doing. It's the consistency that matters now, not the
Yeah.
result yet. And consistency will go more than anything else for the long mile ahead. But thank you for the chance, and I appreciate it.
But before you go, we do have a gift for you. So this is going to be in the post at some point, but I don't know if you can see my screen. Um,
Look at that.
but that is, you know, when we asked you for your most favorite picture, what we
Yeah,
do is we kind of turn it into, I don't know, is
a
caricature the
cartoon.
right thing to say? But
Yeah,
like, yeah,
yeah.
this is the artist's interpretation of that
It
photo. And
looks
I
like a
must say,
typical African.
you
It looks like a
you look
typical
like you've
African
eaten the
politician.
best dish in the world.
It looks like a politician speaking to the crowd, making promises.
Make sure you eat
Fantastic,
well.
fantastic. Thanks, guys. Trey,
Listen,
this is your
listen, we're coming
handiwork, right?
to you.
All right.
Ray's
Thanks, guys.
hiding or eating something.
Okay, guys, it's been another amazing edition of Celebrating the Ordinary. It's been fun bringing this to you. Again, as we always say, check us out, check our social media out, check us out on Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, check us out on LinkedIn, and wherever you
DM
get your
us on
podcast from.
LinkedIn.
DM us, make contact, send us emails, and yeah, and hit the subscribe button. Subscribe, and be part of the family. Okay.
Yeah.
Take care, guys, and see you another time.
Thanks all. Have a good one. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.